Hello and welcome to the Now Spinning Magazine podcast with me, Phil Aston. And on this episode, I'm absolutely delighted to have with me Rosalie Cunningham, whose new album, To Shoot Another Day, is out on the 1st of November. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes. Hello, Phil.
Thank you. Now, Classic Rock magazine described you if Kate Bush and the Beatles had a baby, it would be yourself.
Yeah, well, I mean, um, yeah, that's sort of slightly optimistic. I think that would be a dream come true. But yeah, that's I use that description everywhere all over my bios because it's the best thing that's ever been said. I think.
I've been listening to the album for quite a few days. I've been very lucky to be given an advance link to listen to it, and and that kind of quote, as you say, is quite it's dramatic. And I was thinking because I was playing this with my wife Sue was listening to it last night as I was preparing for this, and we were thinking. I can understand that exactly because there's a lot of 60s and 70s kind of influences going on. But there was some, as I went through the album, I was thinking it's almost like as there's like latter day Susie Sue from the Banshees and Jethro Tull. There's all sorts of influences in your music. And this album you recorded at home in the studio, I guess that I can see surrounding you.
Yeah. Hmm.
So when recording at home, did that give you a better sense of freedom in being able to lay down the tracks?
Well, I mean, the main benefit really was it just simply gave me more time. Um, so Roscoe and I, he co-produced it with me, and we are both sort of quite nerdy about gear and a mass sort of a modest collection of analog gear, and really, it's not about getting this piece and getting that piece. It's learning how to use what you have. And we really had the luxury of being able to do that. And we sort of struck upon a kind of process that really worked with what we've got. But that was a long time of experimentation, months and months of finding the right sounds and everything, which I would never be able to afford in a studio.
Because I mean, the production is absolutely superb. Your voice sounds immaculate. The whole album does, and I know that when you are working the constraints of a recording studio, this you're looking at the watch. You're also looking at your bank balance. There's all sorts of things going on. But did you also feel tempted to do take 51? You know what I mean? How do you know when to stop?
This is the downside. This is the downside. You can lose that spontaneity, which I had a tendency to do anyway. Every album that I've ever made, going back to the person stuff, I just get so anal about the details. And I know that is why they end up being the way that they are. But having Ross as a foil is great because he's quite the opposite, not exactly the opposite, but he's more of an improvisational musician. And he's more of a kind of, he'll do a solo in the moment and that'll be it and he'll keep it. And I'll sort of painstakingly write mine. And so, yeah, it's kind of, we've met in the middle a bit with that, but definitely in danger, always in danger if you're recording at home of take 51.
The album opens with "Shoot Another Day," which sounds like something that could easily be on a James Bond movie. It's got that kind of epic kind of feel to it. I mean, what's the background to this particular song?
Well, that was the idea.
Oh,
I've always wanted to write a Bond theme, and you know,
we've done it.
I thought it was very on the nose, but it's gone over some people's heads. um, I wanted it to be an enormous, symphonic production, and I didn't have those tools to my disposal. I don't have an orchestra in the other room, and I did go down the path of trying to fake it all with mellotrons and things like that. And I just thought, no, let's just do it like as a straight kind of rock band, so we can play it live, and it's more of a kind of a live and let die without the orchestra kind of vibe. So yeah, initially when I wrote that, I came up with those sort of chromatic chords, and that was immediately Bond, and it was quite predictable. But then I took it somewhere else, and the whole concept of "To Shoot Another Day" is setting you up the album of kind of it's a very very loose concept in the way that it's bookended, like a Sergeant Pepper, but the middle is anything you want it to be. But that's also kind of fitting with the theme. They could be scenes in a film, they could be, different moods, different acts. So yeah, that was the story with that one.
Yeah, I love that one. And the next one, of course, has a very intriguing title, Timothy Martin's Conditioning School, which has got a bit of a Eleanor Rigby type of vibe at the very start, but it's a very kind of 60s sound. I mean, This is an unusual title, so there must be a story behind this one.
Well, are you aware of Timothy Martin, Sir Timothy Martin? I think he's a sir.
Yes, yes, yes. Ah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, so that was just written in Weatherspoons.
as you do.
Yeah, and just about the conditioning school of, especially where I'm from in Southend. I'm sure it's the same up and down the country, but on any given sort of Friday or Saturday night, it's just filled with teenagers drinking these buckets of booze with a straw that are
Yeah,
meant for four people, and it's just as soon as they turn 18, or probably younger, but if they're getting ID'd, that's just the culture in Britain, isn't it? And I just sort of it's quite disgusting, but also we all do it.
true. Very true. The next one, the next track is one of my favorites off the album. It's a 6.5 minute epic, which is Heavy Pencil. This has got so much going on in it, hasn't it? And again, probably because of where I grew up from the 70s, I can hear bits of Traffic, bits of Jethro Tull, bits of Bebop Deluxe, even bits of bands like Bloodwind Pig. And obviously, it's modern, it's contemporary, but there's all sorts of things bubbling along in here. It's quite a complex listen, but I love it. I love this track.
Thank you. It's my favorite actually on the album. So that's just come out as a single, which is an unusual choice for a single. But because it's my favorite, I thought, well, if I see something in it, hopefully other people out there will see
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it. Yeah, I mean, all the influences you just mentioned have probably fed into that somehow. And there's sort of a jazziness, like a sort of definitely a Soft Machine and like Egg kind of vibe.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and yeah, I'm not quite sure exactly where that one came from, but it was a lot of fun to make.
No, absolutely. It's my favorite track off the album. The next one is like quite a blues, psychedelic blues track, isn't it? The next one,
Good Damn.
Good to be
Yeah.
damned. Yeah,
Yeah, that's more of a classic rock kind of thing, but then
yeah,
with a slight sort of cabaret twist in the choruses.
yeah. And we mentioned the Shooting of the Day is like a James Bond film. The next one, In the Shadow. Have I got that right? Yeah, In the Shadow of the Shadows.
In the Shade
This one,
of Shadows.
yeah, that's it. Sorry. It's this one reminds me of it's like some film noir for the ears. It's kind of got French kind of
Hmm.
feel and all that. This is all with all the brass at the end. I just again, it's a wonderful arrangement. Did you have this in your mind's eye what it was going to sound like, or did it happen through trial and error?
This song in particular was one that turned out completely different from what I first envisioned. It was kind of just a stoner riff at the beginning. Um, it was the dun 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 was an open drop D, sorry, riff that my partner had hanging around.
Yeah,
And when he was playing it, both of us heard it as a kind of stoner riff. So yeah, nothing like that, like a sort of, doom metal type thing.
yeah,
And then I just took that riff and took it in a completely different direction, and then worked with a friend of mine called Dave Woodcock on piano, who added all the jazzy elements, which were kind of there in my arrangement to begin with, but he took it way further than I'd imagined. And then Ian East from Gong added the saxophone, which took it even further into that direction. So, and I just went with it after that, production wise, sort of post production, after they'd added those bits, that's exactly where I wanted it to go, but didn't see it in the beginning.
no, it's fantastic. Again, it's one of a fantastic song. Now the next one is different, isn't it? The Smut Peddler, great riff,
Mm.
um, but quite abstract. This is the instrumental one, isn't it, off the album? It's quite short, but it's a wonderful, great riff.
Well, thank you. That's just one of those things that I've just been noodling around with on the guitar that I was like, this isn't a song. I can't make this into a song. It's not going anywhere. I tried to stick verses on it. There weren't any vocals coming to me. So I thought actually it works quite nicely going into this other instrumental guitar piece that I had that was the intro to Denim Eyes. So at the end there, I connected the two with all that delay going on, and that worked quite nicely.
Denim Eyes has got my favorite guitar solo on the album on it.
Uh,
Is this?
that's Ross, unfortunately.
Ah, well,
But yeah, that was he didn't want to keep that, so I'm glad he put it
really?
out because I love it. I absolutely love it. It's really off the cuff, and it sounds really White Album to me. Um,
It's amazing because the song kind of is like a dreamy ballad until and when we get to that part when the solo starts, it really lifts it and takes it to a very different place.
Yeah, so we knew that something was going to happen there. So I put the chords down, had the backing track there, and we knew something was going to happen. I was thinking about doing like a horn arrangement or something, a bit more Sergeant Peppery kind of that sort of thing, because it would work quite nicely over those chords. I had all these melodies in my head. And then Ross just put a guitar solo down saying, I think there should be some lead guitar, something like this, and put that down. I went, well, that's it. That's it. Something like that, exactly that. So he was fighting to delete it for quite a long time, and I convinced him otherwise.
Well, good job. Well, also, there's a feel with this one. This is something where, because the solo's in there, and it will become part of the fabric of the album, so he won't be able to take it away now. Is that
I
when
think he
if
likes it now. I think he's lived with it enough.
because if you play it live, he could really stretch out here.
Absolutely, yeah, and he's so good at that. That is absolutely his forte. So if you've seen us live, I don't know if you have.
Yeah, I've seen you on not actually seen you on, but I've seen you on YouTube clips and stuff. So I've seen what the stage act's like. But yeah, he could you could well you can go and you could have a rest and have a cup of tea and leave him.
Costume change.
Yeah, exactly. But it'd be perfect. The next one, Spook Racket. This is another one of my favorites because it's got that really heavy bluesy shuffle.
Mhm.
Um, Again, this will be another wonderful live track as well, I imagine.
Quite a glam anthem. I think I'm going to
Yeah,
hold back and
yeah.
try and sing along with that chorus. Yeah, and then that one goes off in all sorts of directions again.
It does, doesn't it? There's a bit about 3 minutes in when it comes, there's a bass riff, and then later on towards the end, it comes like a very acoustic. There's so much going on.
Mhm.
Was this did this come about because of recording at home and you were trialing different things out, or did you know this is how the song was going to be
Um,
struck?
no, it was quite that was quite a production piece. It was lots of ideas, lots of Roscoe's ideas. Actually, this one that he didn't quite know what to do with, and I sort of stitched together and put all my vocals and bass and keys and stuff over the top, and it turned into that. It wasn't intended to be anything like that, but it was the journey of making it was the songwriting process, I suppose.
Yeah. And then the next one, which is Stepped Out of Time. This one's like has a feel for like a piano ballad, but there's also those spoken elements in it.
Yeah,
What's the background behind that?
that one. I think that's one of the best sounding ones on the record. I'm really pleased with how just what an enjoyable listen it is, because I know sometimes for me anyway, some of my previous work has been a bit of a challenging listen, and that one I find just really the production on it is just soft and warm, and it's quite an inviting space to be in. So yeah, I'm pleased with that one. It was an easy song to write. It was one of those ones that you're just blessed with sometimes, where it just comes from nowhere and just comes almost fully formed. So it was an easy one.
This is one when I was listening to it and making my notes because I'd been playing it a few times, but it was at this point when I started to think the production, the sound of your voice, the way the whole album was been put together. Um, I mean, how do you feel about the album? Because you recorded it at home, which I know a lot of musicians do now, but
Mhm.
this sounds as if you'd said, well, Phil, it was really good that we're able to get into Abbey Road for this one. I would have said, yeah, you can
Wow,
really tell.
thank you. Yeah, I'm really, really pleased with it, to be honest. I can honestly say I've never felt this way before about an album or even a song when I finished it. I spend far too much time in the nitty gritty of it all. And by the end of it, I'm just relieved to be done, rid of it. And I'm looking forward to playing it live most of the time, but that's a different beast. And I never really want to hear it again for years sometimes. And so sometimes it takes about 10 years even. For me to appreciate the work. And now I'm actually enjoying listening to it, which is insane because I've listened to it over and over and over again, but I'm still enjoying it. So that's a really good sign for me.
And the last one, the premiere, this is kind of like almost like a French siren song. And this is, I think, where I felt there was like the latter day Susie Sue vocal thing with a bit of Jethro Tull. There's a lot going on. This is another one of my favorite songs, and it's a wonderful way to end the story of
Hmm.
the album.
Yeah, we were kind of aiming for a kind of Morricone thing. It got slightly taken
Ah,
away from that, especially with the kind of Sabbathy riff. That's nothing to do with it. But that was kind of the intention to begin with, to kind of finish on this like epic sort of uh, could almost be a kind of like Western uh,
yeah.
uh, ending finale, grand finale.
I mean, because you're a multi-instrumentalist, so how do you decide, or do you have a favorite instrument where the kind of beginnings of a song, the fragments of an idea comes together? Do you go
It's
for the
always
piano or do you go for the guitar? What do you?
Well, I don't actually have a piano at home anymore, sadly, which I'm going to rectify very soon. But yeah, this album was absolutely the guitar. Um, Previously, piano's been pretty inspiring as well, but not having one, obviously, I can't do much about that. Hammond is something that always comes later. That's like a finishing touch thing for me. Guitar and then bass, and especially vocals. So I write a lot of the ideas vocally as well.
Ah, I
Um,
see.
yeah,
And you've got actually there's a tour coming up and it's extensive because it goes, where's it? UK, Spain, Germany, every Switzerland.
Yeah, it's an extensive one. Lots of places. It will be my first time playing. So, yep, Spain. First time in Spain. First time in France, actually, under my own name. And yes, where else are we going? Czech Republic. That'll be first time. There's another one that's the first time. I don't have the dates in front of me, but
There's Germany, Netherlands, Austria, Slovakia. You've
that's the first one.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
it's quite extensive. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing how the songs actually sort of progress live, because if you've seen the band that I'm playing with at the moment, they're all great musicians in their own right, and they always bring so much to my music that I wasn't expecting, and I let them do that because otherwise life would be very boring.
And well, have you started rehearsing for the tour already, or is that no?
We really should have done, but bass player lives in Barcelona, and she's also currently traveling in Thailand. Our drummer lives in Manchester. Keyboard player lives in Birmingham. They're also both very busy. Roscoe and I are down here in Essex, and so we're hoping to just get together the week before and cram and see what happens.
And how many tracks from the new album do you feel you'll be doing on the tour?
Depends. I've asked
Depends.
I've
Yeah.
asked them to learn it all. I mean, it would be a dream for me to play it in sequence, but maybe that would even be too much for the audience because they might not be too familiar with that. That might be too alienating. But I would love to be able to do that because I think it would work really well dynamically as a set. And then add a bunch of the old ones on the end. Um, you know, uh,
Yeah, because I think that it because of the way that the album is sequenced, it works really, really well, and it feels like a journey. You
hmm,
know, the opening, the James Bond theme, and then ending with the premiere. And I mean, some songs like Heavy Pencil has got to be in the set, I would think, because it's a single as well, isn't it?
that
Really?
would definitely be, but that might take quite a bit of rehearsing. Uh,
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
not for me. That those time changes come very, very naturally to me. But I guess if you're not living in my brain, it might take some rehearsal.
Yeah. And you've got Denim Eyes will be where you can have a costume change because there'll be a tremendous guitar solo there for
Yeah.
the audience to get behind as well. Well, the album is out on the 1st of November, and I guess it's available on vinyl and CD.
Yes. This.
Yes.
Yeah. This. Actually, I won't show you just yet. I'm just waiting for the vinyls to arrive. The CDs have just arrived, but I won't ruin the surprise. I'll do a little post about that when the vinyl arrives and show you everything. Yes, so CD, vinyl, all digital platforms as usual. The CD has 2 bonus tracks in it as well,
Ah,
which I released as a 7-inch single earlier in the year, Return of the Ellington and Home.
oh, brilliant. And if people want to find out more about you, it's rosaliecunningham.com. Is that the best place to go?
It is, yeah. And obviously my Instagram and Facebook as well.
Of course. So the tour kicks off, I should have that in front of me on is it the 12th? Is it the 12th of November?
Yes, Huddersfield, yeah, is the 12th.
So you've just got a few weeks to get everyone together then.
Yeah. Actually, we're only having 5 rehearsals together.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they're good. I trust them.
Yeah. Oh, just before we go, because one question about playing live, and obviously the way that this has been put together, we were saying at the beginning, you could always do take 51 because you want to get it ready. Live, do you leave kind of like room for the songs to grow on stage? So where musicians start to stretch out little bits and pieces?
Absolutely have done with previous material, but that's kind of once we've got it in the bag. So I'm not making
Right.
promises about this one. We will definitely do that eventually, but how long that takes, I'm not quite sure. But with these musicians, I know, I mean, we've been playing together for quite a long time now. Some of us a very long time. So we trust each other. We know where each other are going to go. So we can bounce off of each other very well. So I don't think it'll be too long before we're doing that with these songs as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Rosalie, for all of your time this morning. And the album, which is Shoot Another Day, is out on the 1st of November on vinyl and CD. And please check out Rosalie's website and social media where you'll see clips for what the vinyl is going to look like as well. But good luck with the tour.
Thank
The album is superb, and I can't wait to get a physical copy myself. And take care, and hopefully I'll talk again in the future. So thank you very much.
Yes, hope so. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. A huge thank you to my guest, Rosalie Cunningham. The album To Shoot Another Day is out now. It's out on vinyl and CD. Go to rosaliecunningham.com to find out about all the latest tour dates. And as she says, she must be very proud of being called by classic rock. If Kate Bush and the Beatles had a baby, it would be Rosalie Cunningham. There are so many influences in Rosalie's music, especially from the 60s and 70s. And yes, the Beatles and Kate Bush are in there, but so is Susie and the Banshees, Jethro Tull, Bebop Deluxe, Blood Ring Pig, Traffic, all sorts of things. And there's a lot of bits of Sabbath as well, but wonderful melodies. A lot of the songs are little mini movie soundtracks for the ears, and an absolutely tremendous voice, great guitar playing, wonderful musicianship. Check them out on YouTube if you've not seen them live, but absolutely fantastic. So thank you for watching and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast, which you can on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you prefer. Now Spinning Magazine is there. Also check out the YouTube channel where you can subscribe, become a member, become a patron, and of course the Now Spinning Magazine website at nowspinning.co.uk. Remember, music is the healer and the doctor. Please take care, keep spinning those discs, and I'll see you all very, very soon.